What's good, YouTube? In this video we're going to be talking about how to play the new and buffed crypto. Now if you guys seen my last video, it was talking about how I ranked up from bronze all the way to predator, and majority of that time I was playing crypto. Crypto is a legend that helped me get over that hump when it comes to ranking up, winning games. He's an overall really good legend, and with this guide I hope it shows y'all how good he can be to yourself on playing him, and also how you can help your team out a lot by using crypto. So some general things before we go into the tips and tricks on how to use his abilities. The first things that I want to say is that crypto is real good because of his scan. His scan is from his drone. That drone is helpful to yourself, your team. Not only that, the drone will confuse or throw off the enemies if you're using that drone correctly. If you're an aggressive person or you're playing with aggressive teammates, crypto is going to be perfect for that because crypto helps aggressive teams out a lot. Also, just know that with your drone is your best friend. If you have no drone, you have no abilities, so just keep in mind that your drone is your best friend. When it comes to arenas, the EMP should be a guaranteed free win at least 90% of the time. I guess sometimes you're gonna encounter something weird when it comes to that round, but majority of the time you should be having a free win on a round when it comes to having your EMP. Now let's talk about the two ways that we could be aggressive with crypto's drone. And the first way that we're going to be talking about crypto's drone on being aggressive is using crypto's drone as a decoy or as a bait. Now for this, I'm gonna have examples shown in the background, but with this you want to be like 10 to 15 meters, maybe around the corner, and you want to throw crypto's drone out to where you want the enemies to shoot the drone. And the reason being you want the enemies to shoot the drone is because you want them to waste their bullets on the drone, and not only that, you're gonna catch them off guard while they're reloading or while they're just focused looking up at the drone. And because of that, this will give you advantage by pulling up and getting easy shots on the enemies while they're not looking or they're not paying attention, or you catch them off guard. So use that drone as a decoy or a, and for this I definitely recommend having a close range gun with you. The guns that I would prefer with crypto would be guns like, when it comes to arenas, it's the Mozambique, right? The Mozambique with hammer points is always good, or any hammer point gun, whichever you prefer, whichever is your favorite submachine gun. Like any of those guns, definitely use those for close range. And when you're using this tactic or this technique, you want to use it to where it's a 1v1 type of battle. You don't want to use this when you're about to go fight 3 people at one time. When you throw your drone and you want the enemies to shoot it, where you're using it as bait, it should be only a 1v1 scenario to where it's just you and that enemy. Now the second way that we're going to be talking about the drone on how to use it is using that drone for information, for scanning. This is the majority of the way that we all think of crypto's drone for, is that we're scanning the enemies, and it's like we're having a bloodhound and a seer ult mixed together. You know how seer, his ult, you have footsteps, you can see them for a while, like 30 seconds or whatever. So you have like the wall hack and stuff like that. With crypto's drone, the best way that you could use this is to use it when enemies are being distracted. So let's say it's a gunfight, the enemies will not shoot the drone if they're distracted, healing up, they're fighting. So that is the best way to throw the drone out when you're about to go into a fight, is after you pop some shots on them, your teammates are going in being aggressive, that's when you throw your drone. And because of that, it's going to scan the enemies the whole time. You guys are going to have free information on where the enemies are, what they're doing, and as long as you're placing your drone the right way, at the end of the day, it's just going to reveal the enemies, and they will not shoot it down because you're putting pressure on the enemy. That's the major key. You want to put pressure on the enemies if you do not want them to destroy your drone. Now for me, the best way that I like to do this is on the beginning of the start of the round. If my teammates are in the area with me, I'm going to try to team shoot an enemy or whatever, they have to heal or something like that, and then I'll throw the drone. But the biggest thing with this is simply applying pressure to the enemies so that they will not focus on your drone. Because of this new buff that crypto has gotten, where people know that you don't have to be in your drone in order to move it, a lot of the times enemies are actually not going to shoot it. You want to put this drone up in the sky, and all you have to do for that is to simply just pop your tactical. It's a very simple move. If you want to use Crypto's drone to move it, then you can use it by holding your tactical, but it's very simple on just throwing it out there. You want to throw it up, you know, kind of towards the sky so that they won't shoot it. Now, the third thing that I want to talk about when it comes to Crypto's drone is recalling your drone. Recalling your drone is big because you want to have your drone at all times. The reason why you want to use Crypto's drone is majority of the time for scanning. You want to scan around corners, you know, maybe an area where you think enemies are going to be at, you know, kind of like a bloodhound scan. So because of that, you want to throw our drone, and if we do not catch anybody in our scan radius, then recall that drone so you have it back. I don't know what it is PC, but for me on controller, recalling your drone is simply down on the D-pad, and it takes 2 seconds to recall your drone. So this is big because it's like always having multiple bloodhound scans in a way, because you know that there's no enemies in the area or no enemies around the corner if you throw your drone and you know your drone doesn't catch anyone. So you recall it, you move up, and then after that you keep doing that process, right? You move up, you throw your drone again until you maybe catch someone on your drone, and then you can push up on that or be strategic or whatever that you and your teammates want to do. But at the end of the day, always have your drone on you as much as available, because once your drone is destroyed, it takes about 40 seconds to get another drone if you bought another drone. So in games, I'm always recalling my drone as much as possible. Your drone will be destroyed if you just throw it out there. You and the enemies are kind of far from each other. The enemies will just look at the drone and shoot it. Remember, you always want to use your drone in a way to where you can push off it and attack the enemies, whether the enemies are focusing your drone and shooting your drone, so you can push up off that and get shots on the enemy because they're paying attention to your drone, or if the enemies are just in the scan radius and you see what they're doing, so you can push off it like that. Always have the drone on you as much as possible, so make sure you always recall that drone. Now let's talk about the best thing about Crypto, and that is his EMP, his ultimate. Crypto's EMP costs 500 materials when it comes to arenas, and you can get it on the 3rd round. And once you use it in the third, or if you use it in the 3rd round, that means you have to wait 2 rounds to get it back again. So you can't use it on the 4th or the 5th, and you can use it again on the 6th round. Think of it, if you use it every round, you can get it on the 3rd, 6th, and 9th round. This sucks that you can't get as much as possible, but that does show you that Crypto's EMP is big time. His EMP, once you EMP a team, they're not going to shoot your drone because they're going to focus on healing. Not only that, it allows your teammates to push up. If you're on a team squatted up, it's going to help your team out so much because they're just going to push off it, and they're going to love being with Crypto, trust me. And not only that, I mean, even as a solo, right? If you're a solo, just the information that Crypto's drone gives to the teammates, your teammates are going to play so much better off that. Not only that, like I said in the beginning, the enemies play different. They play off their game because of a drone that's always scanning them. This is going to help you and your team out a lot when having a Crypto. His EMP is big time. When you're using his EMP, that's the only time I recommend, being in the drone. Like, just like how Crypto was before the buff, where he doesn't have to be in the. So basically, when you could hold your tactical and fly the drone around by yourself manually. That's the only time I recommend using the drone like that for an EMP. Other than that, just use his drone like when they buffed him to where you could just throw it around the corner, just throw it automatically. These, like I said, pay attention to the gameplay in the background. The gameplay in the background is going to show you how to use Crypto. The most important, the best examples I could give when using Crypto. Crypto, he's just big time. He's a lot of fun to use because he's a different legend. Not a lot of people use Crypto, especially in arenas. So if you use Crypto, you're going to throw the enemies off, and it's going to be fun. You're going to be a unique person to have on the team, and your teammates are going to love you, especially if you have aggressive teammates that like to push. They're going to feel safe that there's a scan or a drone flying for you guys. So try out Crypto, and like I said, the best guns that I recommend for Crypto are your best close range gun, whatever that is. If it's the hammer points, then use that. If it's an SMG, use that. If it's the Devotion or Havoc turbocharge, use that. Majority of the time, the first 3 rounds I'm using Mozambique hammer points. Then after that, I'm using in the later rounds, I'm using more than likely a R301 and a P20 with hammers. So that's my loadout. And like I said, also in the 3rd round, you get Crypto's EMP. So it's very important for your team to win at least one of the first 2 rounds, or if not both of the rounds, because when you go up 2-0 and you have your drone on the third, or you have your EMP on the third round, you guys can easily get a quick 3-0 and win the game, because you know you're gonna have that EMP on the third round. Or if you're 1-1, then using your EMP on the third round gives you a 2-1 head start. It's real good. Like I said, using Crypto, that's the best thing about him. With the EMP, you get to play aggressive with him, with the information that you give to yourself and your teammates. Yeah, this was the video though, guys. Let me know what you guys think about this Crypto guide. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.